manipulated, mind fucked, controlled. If you tell, I'll kill you, I'll kill your mom, your dad. No one will believe you. So I was already being fed that at 9, 10, 11, 12.
Let's go back real fast. So you moved in at 9.
Mm-hmm.
About how long were you there until your environment became uncomfortable?
Well, so I think I briefly told you this, but I had like a full trial and everything when I was 19 and for the situation for my grandfather, my grandmother. But looking back, so I had to go back and remember, okay, when was this unsafe? When did the abuse start? And it actually started prior to me living there. I didn't realize that until I was older and questioned, like, okay, when's the first time you think you were touched inappropriately? And it was like 8 years old. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half, almost 14.
When you were 8, where were you?
I was with my grandparents. So sometimes on the weekends, before they took me in, my grandma would have me come stay for the weekend.
Yeah.
And so that's when my very first memory of the sexual abuse would be going over there, and he would want to shower me as an 8-year-old, which is a huge red flag. My grandma wasn't showering me, bathing me, washing me with washcloths in my private areas. He was. And so when I had to basically go through all these memories for the trial purposes, that's when I realized, okay, it was actually even before I lived there. Before. But it was, to me, seemed kind of normal, right? Because I didn't know normal before moving into there because it was wild. And so, yeah. So
someone's taking care of you.
So I will say.
Someone's helping you. Yeah.
But, going through all the counseling and going through the trial and going and being, an advocate for sexual abuse and just where I am today, looking back, it's like, yeah, the abuse started at 8. For me, I know that. And I will say, even though I didn't tell anyone, people, why didn't you say, because I never felt safe. But
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Like an 8-year-old's
What
like,
8-year-old is
hey,
going to say? They don't even want to say,
touched.
Yeah, they laugh at saying butt and fart. Like,
yeah,
let me just talk about my vagina.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
No. So, yeah, I would say I knew it was unsafe. I will say through all those years and all the bad stuff that happened to me, I always knew it was wrong. And I'm grateful that I don't have that weird, thing that some people that can be sexually abused, they like fall in love with their abuser. Thank God that never happened to me, but I do know that it happens. Because I've had clients sit in my chair and tell me, and I'm like, hey, maybe you should see my therapist or go see a therapist.
Yeah, I didn't realize the sexual abuse. I thought it was very normal but as I grew up, I realized that I had been potty trained for a very long time, and I was still being cleaned by my father.
Yeah.
Not my mother ever, not my sister ever, because you sometimes rely on siblings when you're potty training, but I had been potty trained for a very long time, and this was years later. I'm in like school. Yeah. And I just thought that was like, I don't know, just helpful behavior. Mm-hmm. And I did trauma bond to my father. It's crazy because when I think back now too, I would tell my friends at 15, 16, and be like, yeah, it's so weird. It's like I'm my dad's bride. Like I have to cook for him. I had to do all this stuff. Like I was his little dutiful wife, control his emotions, make him happy. So yeah, it does, golly, like, because not until I realized what was happening in my life as a child did I realize where that weird connection had come from. Like I would say, I feel like I was my father's child bride. Right. And I said that in my 20s, and nobody ever really reacted because I grew up around, I don't know, people who didn't know that. I don't know. People just never made a comment like until I was 40 and I would have a conversation with someone and they would look at me And they would go, and these people, I guess, are normal people, because when I'm telling them that felt like I was married to my dad, they're like, wait a second, explain that to me again. How did you feel like that? Because I told my mom that, and she never once batted an eye. And so I'm like, oh, I'm telling you this at 33. I felt like I was married to my father, and you don't think that that's weird. So why do I think that that's weird?
Right.
Until I go to therapy, and my therapist says, that's very weird, Leslie. That's not okay. So, yeah, I think that's there's a big trauma bond that can happen. Do you feel that you were groomed leading up to it?
Oh, I was like basically the staple of sexual abuse. Groomed, manipulated, mind fucked, controlled. If you tell, I'll kill you, I'll kill your mom, your
I'll kill
dad.
myself.
No one will believe you. So I was already being fed that at 9, 10, 11, 12. And on top of all of that, I knew my parents were not in a good way. And so that was also part of it is, oh, if you tell, you're going to be trash. You'll never graduate high school. Sorry, excuse me. You'll become nothing, and I'll ship you back off to there. And like for me, that was like a big trigger, because I'm like, I don't want to be a drug addict. I don't want to be like my parents. So yeah, so there was all the threats. So yeah, groomed very, very young. Like the abuse started with the showering, right? And I think I was like maybe 9 or 10, still showering me. So that's third and fourth grade, which no one should be showering a girl. I don't even shower my daughters, right? And they're 9 and 11. I haven't showered them or cleaned their private areas in a very long time. I taught them how to clean themselves. Sometimes I'll have to look.
Yeah, I'll have
But
to
other
help
than
do
that,
hair every once in a while. I'll
but
be like, you have not scrubbed that scalp very good. Let me get in
yeah,
there.
but
But
I
it's
don't,
daughter to daughter,
yeah, like no.
not mother, not daughter to mother to daughter. Like, I'm not
Right.
going in there with my son. Like, I mean, if he
Yes.
needs something, come on. Like, ugh, okay, I don't want to be doctor, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you'll be there for your kid, but there's a difference between being there for your child in a moment of need and being there for your child constantly doing
Yeah.
that.
So I will say the grooming started very early for me. And it was a very slow process. So people, that's, I think, understanding sexual abuse and all different sexual abuse is such a broad statement. The way that you were sexually abused is different than the way that I was sexually abused. You know, there's the trauma side that you're just, you know, you're viciously raped, right? There's all these different types.
Yeah.
For me was the manipulative. I I've told people this, and I've told my husband this, because me and my husband are close. You know, he's been with me through all of this, but it's like a cult. I understand now how people could get caught in a cult. Not that I would ever be in a cult, but I was so manipulated and brainwashed. I understand it now as an adult, right? And especially if you're manipulated into that, for me, especially at a very, very young age.
Vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. I get it. But yeah, like it started off with just, hey, I want to teach you. I want to know. I want to teach you so you know how to kiss when a boy wants to kiss you for the first time. You know, as an 8-year-old, and I'm like, what? You know. And I was like, I don't know about that. So, and anytime there was like pushback from me, he would step back, but then come back and revisit it. He would inch and inch. So it was, I would say, over the first year was very um, slow. It was, let me kiss you. Have you ever French kissed? You know, and I remember him like kissing my mouth and shoving his tongue in my mouth, and I'm like, I know this is not normal, you know. And then, but then you have to understand too, for anybody that has been sexually abused, then the threats start to come. So it's this mind manipulation thing where, it's not like, oh, he just kissed me one time, right? It was, and like my abuse, especially in the heat of all of it, it was like every day. Unless I spent the night in my friend's house. And it got to the point where I was older, because I never wanted to be home on the weekends because I didn't want to be abused all weekend. He would threaten me. Okay, well, if you don't, you know, give me a blowjob, or if you don't do this, then you're not going and you're not getting your allowance and you can't go skating and you can't go to the movies. And so I would just screw it. Okay, well, I don't want to be here. At least I get to get abused one time out of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'll just do it so I can leave, which sounds terrible, but that was my only option. And I was so convinced that he would kill me, kill my family, or make it look like I was crazy.
Yeah, they're good at that.
So yeah, so I would say it started off slow. It was the kissing, the making out, and then like, hey, are you getting pubic hair? And I'm like, no. And now, so this is what's like been triggering for me in this season is my girls are all the ages and my son. So every age that they're at, I was abused at all their ages.
Yeah.
And so like my daughter's 11. She's precious. Love her. Her name's Adelie Joe, and I love her so much. But, her body's starting to change some. Not a lot. I mean, I didn't hit puberty till I was like maybe 13. Like actually puberty. And so I look back and I'm like, I was being asked at 10 years old if I had vagina hair. And he wanted to see it. Well, let me just touch it. And then the touching. And then, well, what if I just kiss it? So it was a slow process. But then once it got to the touching, the kissing, all that, then it was like, everything was off limits. It was then, oral abuse, him on me on him, there at that once we hit that point there was no coming back.
No, you have to do whatever it is that
Yeah.
they want you to do.
And I wish I was in a safe environment. I wish I could have told someone, but like with your upbringing and my upbringing, I didn't have a normal family. And I never felt safe to tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone until I was 18 years old. It took me that long to tell somebody. So and for me to realize how wrong it was, because I had all this shame and guilt, So yeah, I like I said, I don't think for anybody there's a secret sauce on this topic or how we dealt with it. And even, all the everyday abuse for 5 years consistently in my life, I think once I, came to my senses, found out that my grandparents were watching kids. I was already out on my own. I was living in an apartment, and I found out my grandparents were watching kids. And I took everything in me. I was like, I will never let this happen to a single kid ever again. And
Yeah.
that wasn't until I spoke up and said something, pressed charges, went through the DA, I went through Denton County. They were amazing. The Children's Advocacy Center is amazing, by the way. It wasn't until I started to go through all of that's really when my healing started. That's when really I started to really understand what I went through was really bad.
Yeah, really bad. Yeah. It's so funny how we really dumb it down. We're like, well, but there's somebody that's had it so much worse.
Right.
That's how my life was. There's, well, you have it bad, but there's children. I mean, back in the day, it would be like in Saudi Arabia, in the desert, there's desert storm happening, there's war, and what your experience is nothing.
TV.
And I'm like, so of course we minimize. And it's funny because like my therapist is always like, Leslie, there's a lot. She's like, we get rid of these big ones, and then there's another big one, and then there's like that. When you talk about that, I have a very vivid memory of being in a vehicle, not with my mother, and I'm not sure if my father was in the car. I can't really remember, because I do know that I like left my mind because I just had to autopilot. And it was that I was at that age, and there were 3 women that I know of in the car, adult women, 40, 50, 60. And it was the 2 women. One said, let's see what's under your shirt. Do you have any, mammary glands? And they were like, lift your shirt up. We were in the car. I was like with a bunch of my fellow aged family members, and I was asked to do that. And it's like, do you have any poil? Do you have any hairs? And it was just like, I remember feeling so bizarro. Like we were coming home from like someone's soccer game or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like the conversation that was in the Suburban that day on the way back to their house. And I remember thinking, well, I mean, I have to do this. There's 3 adult women in this car. And it was funny, none of them are the ones that did it to me, but they belonged to my father. And I'm like, you people should have stopped. Like, one of those adults in the car should have been like, what are y'all doing back there? What is happening? We're not doing this game. I don't
Right.
I like come pick up your kid. Someone should have called my mom that day and been
Right.
like, come pick up your daughter. Like, freaky shit's happening to her here. Like, she doesn't need to come back here anymore. So sometimes you're just at the mercy of the adults that are delusional that
Yep.
this behavior is appropriate. You know, asking people to show you their private parts is 100% actually not appropriate ever in the face of ever, unless you're a doctor and your mom is in
Right.
the room with you, or someone is in the room, like multiple people. Yeah. So there's, I mean,
Yeah.
there's, like you say, there are signs, but sometimes the signs are going to go right out the window because nobody shut the window.
Right.
Nobody's
Right.
shutting it for people to catch
Right.
them. So let's get on to our next one. Do you think your body reacted? Now that you've grown, do you think that your body had tried to tell you signs as you were growing up? And again, we're gonna go here because this is that subject and it's not fun and I don't want to go here.
Right.
But for me, my body remembered feelings.
Oh, yeah.
And I would think about situations that had happened in my life, and then I'd go, ew, arousal situations in my life that were ew. And then I'd be like, out of my head, that should have been an indicator. Like the fact that and because there's no memory tied to it, it was so disorienting. So, did you have body
Yes.
like
Oh, yeah.
you feel guilty because
Yes.
we'll just say it. You have a very fleeting, for me, it was like a blink of an arousal, like a flutter. And then I'd go, oh God,
Yeah.
ugh. Did you have that?
Oh, absolutely. So, part of my abuse obviously was my grandfather would orally abuse me, right? Of course, I'm not a pervert, so I never got off on licking some old man's wiener. So, yeah, I'm putting that out there. But I, as a kid, sometimes would orgasm. And I didn't know what that was, obviously, until I was an adult, until I was in therapy at 19. And so, yes, I had to really work on that because it made me sick. And then being with my husband, we've been together all these years, right? So, in the very beginning, when I was in therapy, when I decided to press charges, all this was a lot at once. And then me having therapy that I've never had therapy before.
Yeah.
And realizing all this stuff that I had gone through was terribly wrong.
And they're telling you, they're
Yeah, like,
letting you feel bad about it. They're like, hey, you can cry and feel
so
really shitty
I
about it.
remember telling her, like, anytime I'm with my husband and I orgasm, I just break down, or I'll have flashbacks, or I will cry, right? And my body, I did not want that to happen. And I just remember at the time I had this amazing therapist. I was doing really hard work. By the way, the book The Courage to Heal is amazing. I don't know if how much you've talked about sexual abuse on this podcast, but if anybody listening, whoever you are, even for your spouse, they also have 2 books, The Courage to Heal, and then they also have Allies of Healing if you're with somebody that has been abused. It's just to help you understand being with someone that's been abused. But The Courage to Heal is in that book too. And so doing that workbook, being with my therapist at the time really helped me. And during all that work, she told me, Tesley, if you hit your elbow on a wall, you stub your toe, you'll cuss probably, and it will hurt like a mofo. She's like, you cannot feel bad for your body reacting like it should.
Yeah.
But it took me years to basically undo all those bad memories. I would have to go to my safe place a lot. Like, this is my body, this is okay. That's what I would tell myself while having sex
Yeah.
with my newly husband. This is my body. This is okay. This is my body. This is okay. It's okay to have an orgasm. That's unfortunately was robbed from me at a very young age. But this is my body. This is okay. That's what I would literally tell myself over and over and over and over.
It's rewiring those
I had to rewire, but yes,
neurotransmitters.
my body reacted, unfortunately. And again, I'm sure you can
Yeah.
attest having flashbacks, smells, senses. I have all those things too. I've done a lot of work, but it still doesn't mean that I'm not triggered still. I mean, I still have triggers and I'm 37. So it's, again, sexual abuse is such a very condensed thing. And I don't think that, um, I will ever not have a trigger, right? Like that sucks to say that, but I know how to work through them.
That's the best part. It makes him livable, manageable, more manageable, but it's still crazy. It's like,
Right.
and I hate, even Curtis the other day, my husband, I was talking to him and I was like, I don't want to use this word, but like that's something like I was triggered. Like
Mhm.
I, I have moments where I feel like I'm back and I realized now because I've done so much therapy, yes. And he had walked in and sometimes he walks into my closet and I want to drop to the floor and hide my body. And sometimes I'm just like, whatever, come on
Mhm.
in. And I realize it's because we never had locks on any of our doors because we had
Mhm.
old-timey locks on our house. We didn't have a like a new house. And so we had these crystal doorknobs and they did not lock. So my dad would walk in and I'd be like, I'm not dressed. I'm not dressed. I'm not dressed. And like
Mhm.
next thing they don't care. It's just me, whatever. And like, then you do feel kind of crazy. You're like, it is just my dad. But it was uncomfortable. I was not comfortable. I did not feel, I did not have boundaries
Right.
being like that. So I get these flashbacks and I was able to tell him, I was like, yes, it has nothing to do with you. Please keep walking into the closet unannounced at any moment. But do understand that sometimes I'm going to jump to the floor
Right.
or like I'm going
Grab
to
clothes, however,
retire.
yeah.
And that has nothing to do with you. My brain wants to go where it's comfortable. It's like, hey, I hadn't thought of this in a minute. Let's bring you back up to play, or something's going on in my mind.
I have that too. So one of my like trigger, or I'd say
Yeah.
sound, taste, smell, whatever, mine is a belt buckle. Anytime I hear that, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my husband knows now. It took me, but it took me a long time to tell him. But and no matter, he could be 5 rooms away, and I know that sound because when I was a kid, it was okay. He had to take his pants off, and it was the chattering of the
I know
belt
what sound you mean.
every single time. So yes, that is one of mine.
Yeah, it's weird because it creeps up and you're like, I'm not there. And so, but sometimes it'll manifest and it'll go, oh, that felt good to feel bad about that moment.
Mhm.
What else do we want to think about? And then the spiral starts to
Right.
happen. And then you start thinking, and I'm very thankful for therapy because I'm able to now go, whoa, like, what are you doing? Bring it back.
Right.
It's 2025. That man's dead. Like,
Yeah.
he's not coming back, and you're safe now. But the brain wants to keep
Yeah.
reminding me.
Well, I think that we just have everything stored somewhere, back in a shelf
It
somewhere.
is stored. I mean, every single thing we see gets stored into our
Right.
brain. I always think of it as like a mushy muscle, and mine's been really flat because it's not wanted to remember anything. And now I'm like, come on, memory,
Mhm.
bring it all back to me so I can work through it and put it to bed.